Good afternoon, everybody. Now y'all look so good. Come on, look at the person next to you and say, you look better than me. Oh, y'all don't want to say that, didn't you? Hi, my name is Rogers Jones. I'm the chairman of the Deacon Board of St. John Community Church, where my pastor is Dr. Calvin C. Watkins, and he's at a funeral right now, so he can't be here. However, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker. Is that okay? I want to have permission. Y'all supposed to nod and say that's okay. Okay, great. Okay, listen. She needs not a lot of introduction, and she doesn't want me to do that. But I know one thing, I wrote a couple of nuggets down so that you will know that she graduated from the University of Illinois with a Bachelor of Science. She's educated further with a doctorate degree from DePaul University, and she is also the first African-American Lieutenant Governor of the state of Illinois. But she wants us to know that she is an advocate for young people and an advocate for senior citizens. Put your hands together, if you will. Our Lieutenant Governor, Miss Juliana Stratton. Come on, make some noise.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to move over here because I feel like I'm blocking some beautiful hats. And I don't want to block any beautiful hats. How's everybody doing today? What do you all have on those plates over there? Some strawberries? What else you got? Good food. Okay, well that's the way I like to hear it. I am so honored to be with you all today, and I am especially honored to serve as your Lieutenant Governor. I just left a press conference with Governor Pritzker, and I told everybody I gotta run. I gotta get out to Blue Island because I have to get here to see all of you. And I am so honored to be here today. I want to thank Belinda Mays Howard. Where's Belinda? Oh, Belinda, thank you so much for your leadership. Yes, and Nyoka Farmer, thank you so much as the program director here at Prairie Green at Phase Point for inviting me today. I don't know if Pastor C.E. Watkins is here yet.
Yeah, you'll be sure.
Okay, but I wanted to acknowledge him as well. And I certainly want to acknowledge all of you who are here today, especially the recipients of the Pioneer Awards. And I'm just going to guess, are you all the recipients of the Pioneer Award? No. Where are the Pioneer? Yes, you all are. Well, I am so honored. Oh, is that a secret? Somebody went, I didn't know I was getting that award. Well, let me be quiet. I won't share too much of the secret. All right. So I want to thank you so much for the few minutes to just talk a little bit about the work that I've done throughout my life and the work that Governor Pritzker and I plan on doing in this administration. We have just finished, just about a week or so ago, 100 days in office. And I was born and raised in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago. And you heard, there's some south side in here. South side. And I grew up and went to a public school for high school. And then, as was mentioned, I went to the University of Illinois at Chicago, at Urbana-Champaign, and got a degree in broadcast journalism, and then went to law school and earned my Juris Doctorate from DePaul University College of Law. And after that, I started practicing in this law firm, but then I started my own practice, where for over 20 years I've had my own small business, working to create a more fair workplace and addressing workplace discrimination and trying to help make sure that people had a fair workplace to go to work to every single day. And so my life kept going on, and I started getting involved in lots of different types of work, specifically around how to help keep our young people on the right path. Young people who really needed to have an opportunity to be educated, but sometimes they would drop out of school, sometimes they would end up in our juvenile justice system, when really what they needed was to make sure that they had a strong family, that they had what they needed in their communities, and they had some people to mentor them and walk alongside of them. I have a feeling that those of you here in this room have mentored some young people throughout your lives. Is that the case?
Yes.
That's what I figured, because I know that you bring a lot of wisdom and you've talked to young people about some of the ways that they can be successful. So, in 2015, I was sitting at home one day and there was a story about my state representative and how my state representative was really not representing the people in our district in the best way. And what the state representative did was made some decisions that cut some programming and services for our children and getting them the kind of early childhood education that they need. And that was unacceptable to me, because I believe our children deserve to be educated. But the other thing that this state representative did that I thought was unacceptable was make cuts to home health care for our seniors. And that was a big problem for me. The idea that I had talked to so many seniors who said, you know what, it is hard out here trying to make sure that we pay our bills, but also pay for our medication. Sometimes we need help in our home. Why would you cut those kinds of services? Now let me just say, when those services were being cut, I was caring for my mom, Velma. She had been a teacher, but then as she aged, she developed Alzheimer's. And I cared for my mom, and it was one of the greatest privileges of my life to care for my mother. And I was not going to sit back and watch cuts being made to seniors like my mom, seniors like some of you here in this room, that need all the help that you can get. And that's what we're supposed to do as government. We're supposed to help the people who need it. And so I ran for state representative, and I beat that state representative, and so I could make sure that I could fight for all of you as a state representative in Springfield. And I served on the aging committee, because that was one of the committees where I knew I could have the greatest impact to think about policy making for our seniors. So when I say that I'm honored to be here, I mean it, because this is work that has been important to me throughout my life. I was only a state representative about 7 months when I got a call, ultimately after having a couple of conversations with who was just at the time J.B. Pritzker, but now he's Governor Pritzker. And he talked with me about the things that were important to me, and I shared with him my passion for young people. I shared with him my passion for seniors. And I shared with him how we need to do more in our communities to end the violence and to make sure that every community is safe. And he and I partnered up, and he asked me to be his running mate. And I was proud to stand with him throughout the year and a half that I was on the campaign trail with him, talking about the issues that we need to talk about to make sure that our entire state improves and better serves the lives of all Illinoisans. On January 14, 2019, I made history as the first black lieutenant governor in the 200 years of Illinois. Thank you. And as I stood on that stage and raised my hand and put my right hand on, raised my right hand, put my left hand on my grandmother's Bible, I told the story about my family, which really started here when I traced back over this last summer to Stevensville, Mississippi, where my ancestors had received some land after they were freed from slavery, and how they took that land and they built a church, and they took that land and they built a school, and they took that land and made sure that they built a store and other kinds of places so that everybody in that community could thrive. And what they knew in Stevensville, Mississippi was that it's about all of us. You can't just point to one person or look to somebody in office and say, you do it. We have to do this work together as a community. Isn't that right? Yeah. If it's going to get done, it's going to be because all of us step up and do what's right. Yeah. So I wanted to thank you today. I wanted to thank those of you that are in this room, because I know the influence that you have had on your families. I know the influence that you have had on your communities. I know how hard you worked in your jobs. I know how hard you mentored and help young people grow up and do what's right. I know that there's a lot of people in here who are some prayer warriors who stayed on your knees praying for not just young people, but people throughout your community to do better. And I thank you for that. You are the examples that I try to follow. Those of you in this room are the ones that I look up to. And sometimes people will see my name in the news, or they'll see my name on television, and they think, oh, well, look what she's done. But I'm here to tell you I could not have done any of it without people like you who have been working and praying and doing all you could do to make sure that everyone in your family and your community succeeded. So, we're working hard. We're going to keep working for our seniors. We recently just passed a bill to make sure, it's not passed, the governor signed a bill into law to raise the minimum wage in the state of Illinois, because we need to make sure that people can take care of their families. We're continuing to make sure that we put more money into our education system, including early childhood education, K through 12 education, and more scholarships for young people to be able to go to college. We are making sure that we invest in communities, especially in programming to end violence, and make sure that our communities can be safe, and expanding health care for everyone, because we know that everyone deserves the right to be able to afford going to the doctor. So, I understand that there are a couple of people, and I don't want to be Nyoka, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this was on my notes. Am I to talk or not talk about the people that we're, okay. So we are honoring some people today. And can I go ahead and talk about those names? Okay. So we have several people that we are honoring today. And by the way, I wanted to just, before I get started with this, and maybe he'd like to come up, Alderman Bellato, if you just wanted to come on up and say hello, because I know that we're giving these awards. So can we give it up for Alderman Fred Bellato, please? Thank you for being here as well. So, I understand that there are some seniors that we are honoring today, and I'm going to start with those that are getting awards, and these are called the Pioneer Awards. All right? So I thought we could start with the two for the most active. Can we start with that? Now, when I call these names out, I want everybody to give a big round of applause, because these are quite some accomplishments. First of all, the first Pioneer Award for most active senior goes to Tommy Turner. All right, and our second award for most active senior goes to Ms. Ruby Ray. Congratulations. All right, so active means we got to keep up with you two, huh? You all are doing everything you can do, huh? Okay, I got it. The next Pioneer Award I'd like to give to someone who has reached a milestone of being 90 years old. 90 years old, and that is Miss Susie Martin. Congratulations. Thank you for all you've done. All right, our final two Pioneer Awards, two special people that I want to acknowledge for also reaching a big milestone, and I mean a milestone. Yeah. And for each of these two, I brought a little something extra to go along with their certificates, because when you can reach this milestone, I think you deserve a little extra something. And so what I have brought, I talked about making history when I was inaugurated. I brought a special inauguration coin that is engraved for the state of Illinois inaugurating a new century because these are two people that beat a century mark. And I'm going to start with Mataw Green, who reached 101. All right. Here is your certificate, and here is your special century coin. What do I have to do to look that good in 101? You'll tell me that later. Okay. And then finally, I thought Mataw Green, I thought you had it at one-on-one, but guess what? We have someone who has hit 102, and that is Reverend Elizabeth Jordan. This is your certificate. Congratulations, how blessed you are to reach 102. And I saw Reverend Jordan, so I know you have preached, you teach, you pray, and you make sure everyone stays on the right path. Here is your special inauguration coin. So thank you all for the opportunity to be here. This meant so much to me. And I'm going to take a few minutes and come around to the different tables just to say hello. And I know I can't stay for your whole program, but this is a beautiful program. Can we give it up for all the planning staff, people who serve the food, people who have worked on the video, every capacity. You all have done a fantastic job honoring the seniors. And please know that I am going to continue working hard for all of you. The governor will continue working hard for all of you. And if there's anything that we can do to be of service to you, please do not hesitate to ask. God bless you all.